Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, where it's all about creating the life you want, the business you want, and making a real difference. Join us in unlocking the code to true success. And now your host, Tony Caliendo, Master Coach with ReThink Coaching.
Welcome to the Mindset Architect Podcast, episode number 115. I'm Tony Caliendo, Master Coach here at ReThink Coaching. And as always, I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. Time truly is our greatest asset, and the fact that you're willing to share your time with me truly does mean a great deal. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I see. It's not uncommon, and you may be experiencing it, and that is resistance to writing your next year's business plan. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It's happened to me. I've been stuck before, and I just want to walk you through how we can move through this and get you to have a breakthrough and excited about writing a business plan. I remember, back years ago when I was an executive with Marriott, my first executive level position where I was a director with the company, and I had to write a business plan. And I was resisting it because I just didn't, first of all, I didn't really buy into it because I was that person that just thought you could wing your way to success. And I just didn't quite know what I was going to do. It was just going to be a guessing game. And one of my favorite mentors, Beth Paul, just simply said, hey, if you fail to plan on failing. And she's right. And so I don't want you to fail. I want you to have a business plan that you like, that you trust, and that is full of things that you enjoy doing so that you can achieve your goal and enjoy the journey. So first thing I want to talk about is, there's this myth, like I got to feel motivated before I start my next year's business plan. And what I know to be true is motivation is not always going to come first when it comes time to writing a business plan because the task can be daunting, right? But what can create motivation is your clarity around what you want and what your future looks like. So resistance that you're feeling is often based on uncertainty, not laziness, not lack of knowledge, nothing other than you're just uncertain of what the business plan can look like and do for you. It's not about motivation. It's about clarity. So that'd be the first thing that I would say is, it's hard for us to get pulled towards something if we're lacking clarity because we just don't really know where to go. So the more specific your goal can become, the more energy will rise for you to meet them, and we'll meet them in the form of you drafting and compiling a really effective business plan. So don't wait to be motivated to do your next year's plan. What you want to do is get abundant clarity, crystal clear on what you want to be doing. That's step number one. Number two is don't look at it as a guesswork trap. All right. So I learned this phrase long ago when I was in residential home sales from an inspector. And he said, this is what we're going to call a wag. And I'm like, what the heck is he calling a wag? And he said, it's just a wild ass guess. And that has stuck with me over the years because sometimes that's what I believe people that I'm working with feel like their forecast for the following year is just a wag. And I don't want it to feel like it's a guessing game for you. I want you to be really comfortable about what your forecast and your prediction is for the upcoming year. If you're feeling that, it could be simply because you haven't taken the time to reflect on what you did this year that worked really well, so you know how you achieved the goals that you achieved. Now, I'm going to say that sometimes sales happen not by luck. They happen because you've been taking action in an area, even though this piece of business came from something not related to the action you took, and that's okay. But we have to understand that we can't count on that. What we can count on is what activities am I doing that are going to create the results that I want. So some of our wins are going to just happen by accident or momentum, but the majority need to come from intentional design. So separate what worked on purpose versus what worked by accident or by luck. That's really important. So just take your business snapshot of the previous year and divide out the business that you received that was done by purposeful activities versus the sales that just showed up or the success that just showed up. Identifying those patterns, right? Identify the patterns of what worked, what I did on purpose that actually produced the results. And can I repeat that strategy? What did I do? What were the actions? What did I specifically do? And if I do it again, am I comfortable that I'm going to get the same result? Reflect on it. I can't stress this enough that when you're doing your upcoming year's business plan, the very first thing you need to do is really do a deep dive reflection on what you've done the previous 12 months. What has worked? What strategy actually got me a result? What did I enjoy doing and get a result? Really take a look at what you did with intention that got you a result. So take the guesswork trap out. I know it sometimes feels like it's going to be a wag, and it doesn't have to be. Where you may feel uncertain is the amount of growth you want to forecast. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But right now, just get out of the mindset that it's a guessing game. It's not if you take the time to reflect on your previous year. The number 3 thing that might be happening, and I'm seeing that happen a bit this year and the previous year, is that there's this weight of complicated year that we're coming out of. Some of your resistance to writing a plan may be simply because you are experiencing fatigue, that it's been a challenging year, that it's been a year that we've had to do activities on a really high level to get the same results that we wanted to get and had to be really, really intentional. And that could be confusing to your brain as fatigue, when the reality of it is there are just strategies that worked. So you might be still mentally carrying some emotional baggage from this year's stress. And I would really encourage you to let that go, to focus on the good. When we want to release the complicated year philosophy is just to really celebrate your wins. What did you do that was great? What did you do that allowed you to get the results that you got? Even if it didn't get you to the goal, releasing that feeling of it's a complicated year and it's going to be another complicated year and I just don't have it in me to do this again, let that go. Release what didn't work. We all have had plans that we wrote with the best intentions, and about 90 or 120 days in, we're realizing the strategy didn't work and we abandon it and just start doing what we've always done and are experiencing a level of success. So take time to release what didn't work. Don't treat it as a punishment. Just treat it as knowledge and simplify things. That clears mental clutter. So your next plan is rooted in focus and not in exhaustion. So again, reflecting on what went really well. Release the weight of a complicated year. Most important thing you can do. And I'll be honest, the past 2 years in whatever business that you might be in have been a little bit more complicated and required a little bit more strategic thinking. So the thought strategy and the business strategy to navigate and be successful. Number 4 thing that tends to happen is this fear of the unknown or this replication anxiety. There's this hidden fear. What if this last year was just luck? I had a couple really good sales come up that I wasn't planning on that were big, that really helped me achieve my financial goal. And what if that was just by luck? What if I am doubting my ability, almost like an imposter syndrome, that I can duplicate what worked well, and I'm just basing my fear in, am I going to be able to do it again? Because if we don't know exactly how we did it, that's a fair feeling. So again, reflecting back on what you did that generated the results that you got is really important, because once you know that, you have the answer. You know if you can replicate it, yes or no. You know if you replicate it, what the result should be that you're going to get. So take some time to release this fear of the unknown or this replication anxiety just by identifying the habits, the actions, and the focus that created your wins this past year. And know that if you did it once, you can do it again. And as the economy changes, as things change, and you get used to certain things that you need to do for success, they will become more normal and be easier because you have spent time mastering those activities. Know that your job isn't to replicate it exactly 100%, yet it is to refine with intention so that you can turn those winning activities into duplicatable actions and results. That's really key. That within itself will release that fear of the unknown or the fear of, can I do it again? Number 5 thing to do is overcomplication blocks progress. We tend to do this when we're writing a plan. At ReThink Coaching, we use a very simple 2-page, it's really 1 page front and back, but we use a very simple business plan. I've seen business plans written before that are just overwhelmingly complex. I swear that NASA had smaller plans to land us on the moon than what some people do in their business. So don't complicate the task. It doesn't have to be full of charts. It doesn't have to be full of data and overwhelming. It just needs to be crystal clear on the specific actions that you're going to take and the impact it's going to have on you that will get you motivated and keep a very simple plan very, very effective. Again, back in my corporate days, we had a template that we would use for business planning, and then we had to present our business plan to our regional team, our GMs, and our regional teams. And it had to be really drilled down and buttoned down, like pages upon pages upon pages. And that, to me, just that overcomplication was the one thing that blocked taking action. Because I looked at this business plan that was this thick and I thought, I don't have the time to read everything again. And I'm not sure I can implement every single thing and digest everything that's in that business plan. Keep it simple. Just keep it really simple. Really, your job is to identify the strategies that work, both thought and business strategies, to implement 3 that you can count on to get predictable results, and to keep those at the forefront at all times. That's it. Develop great habits around those strategies and make those priorities your non-negotiables. Keep it really, really simple. Progress built on simplicity is much more sustainable than perfection built on stress. All right. I say this with a lot of love, is that some people want it to be perfect. They want the business plan to be picture perfect. And I also say this to people who strive for perfection. Perfect will make you poor, because what ends up happening is you're getting ready to make it perfect. And then it's just not quite perfect. So you spend more time making it perfect. In the meanwhile, you are burning daylight and you are losing time. I'm not saying jump in and just guess because we're going to have a plan. I am saying jump in when it's not perfect. It's okay. You can tweak. Remember, my old regional director, Beth, said it to me really, really well. We're going to work this business plan as if it's a live document. You're going to make notes. You're going to make changes. You're going to make suggestions on what you can do different or what you had to do to enhance that strategy to get the result that you predicted to get from it. Do not overcomplicate the initial plan. That will block your progress quicker than anything else. Clarity and consistency equals momentum. So being clear, right? Number 1, get clear. Number 2, what are your items and actions that need to be consistent? They're your non-negotiables. They're your strategies that are going to get you the results. When you combine the clarity and the consistency, it will put you into momentum. It's the best thing in the world is momentum, and being able to manage that and keep it going through simplicity is really, really important. If I have to pause what I'm doing and go dissect a 30-page business plan to make sure I'm doing everything it said to do, I'm probably going to lose momentum. In fact, it's probably going to cause a lack of clarity and overwhelm me. So overcomplication will definitely block your progress. Number 6, emotional avoidance disguised as busyness. So I laugh when I'm working with clients, and we've been talking about business plans since October 1st. And there's a couple stragglers that just haven't quite got it done yet because we're busy. And I acknowledge that. I love being busy, especially Q4 when most people aren't. But we can't hide behind our busyness to prevent us from making the plan for success for the following year. Sometimes we just want to avoid the planning because it makes us uncomfortable and it makes us face some truths that we don't maybe want to see. So when we're reflecting on what we did that worked really well, what we did and didn't work well, or what we didn't do that we should have done, all of that stuff, you may be wanting to avoid that. And you might be doing it by staying busy and confusing busyness with movement. All right. It's easy to hide behind busy work. So as a coach, I'm going to call you out on it. As a coach, I'm going to put some pressure on you to spend some time. I know that a lot of salespeople don't love numbers. We don't love the fact that numbers are your true story and that you can't hide when you know your truth. And your truth comes from your numbers. So how much of this action will get me a result? How many of those results will convert to sales? That's what we want to really pay attention to. So don't do emotional avoidance through the lens of I'm busy. Pause to get it done. Busyness blocks awareness, and awareness will be the thing that will fuel your change for the following year. I hope all of you are projecting more sales next year than you had this year, or growth, or whatever your goal is for success, is that you challenge yourself to do more than you did this year, even if you had a great year. Sometimes more can look like I need more balance in my life. Sometimes more is not about income as much as it is about creating the space for your family, friends, and balance. So whatever that goal is, I still want you to stretch yourself for the upcoming year, even if you didn't make your goal. Now, I'm not a big fan of duplicating the goal you had the previous year because that gets really stale. So let's say I had a goal of selling 50 units and I only sold 35, which 35, by the way, is not bad. I sold 35. So I think, well, I'll just do 50 again for this year and strive to finally get there, strive to make it happen this year. I don't love that because we've had 12 months of using that goal and you become kind of numb to it. So I would increase it a little bit. Even if you did 52, 53, whatever it is, I would change it up because it's fresher and your brain has a different goal in mind that it will reactivate it and motivate it in a way that doesn't happen when you just cut and paste and duplicate the goal you didn't make for the following year. In that case, if you did 35 and the goal was 50, we might change it to 45. And that's okay. It's still more than what you did this year. So I want you to set some stretch goals for yourself, some realistic stretch goals that if you do the actions, you'll get the results. So just know your numbers, energy, and mindset are really important, and they need to be in alignment with your expectations. Treat your plan with self-compassion, not just self-criticism. So don't beat yourself up. I can't undo what's been done. Here we are, middle of November, and the year's done. We're working on next year. I can't sit here and beat myself up about what I didn't do and change it, right? Because I can't go back to March. But what I can do is focus on the positive changes that I can make. I can also focus on the positive things that I did that got me to the results that I got. You didn't get to your number by sheer accident. You got there through intention and activity. Don't forget that. So just please do not beat yourself up over it. Planning should be viewed as a reset, not a report card. All right. So I think about when I was a kid, I dreaded report card time, dreaded it because I wasn't a great student. I didn't really learn how to study until much later in life and didn't understand that that was a big part of the process of doing well in school was figuring out how to study that worked for me. And I absolutely dreaded it. And I would do all kinds of things to distract my parents from getting or seeing or talking about my report card. Don't think about your review as a report card. Think about it as the best resource you have to uncover what you did well and what you didn't, and the opportunities that lie in both of them. If I did something really well, could I take it to the next level? If there's something that I believe should have worked and it didn't, let me excavate the important data from it and figure out how I can get it to work if it's still a strategy that I believe in. Just because it didn't work for you this last year doesn't mean it can't work for you. It just means we have to get really honest with what we thought would work and restructure it if we want to keep that strategy in play. Part of it could just be because you didn't do it. You know, I always not laugh at, but I laugh with a client when they say, oh, that strategy didn't work. And I'm like, really? Tell me about how it didn't work. What did you experience when you did it? Well, you find out they didn't do it. Well, of course it didn't work if you didn't do the action. Or of course it didn't work if you only did it 2 or 3 times or for 30 days and then abandoned it because you didn't get the results that you thought you'd get immediately. What I know in sales and growth of businesses and teams is that it's a 30, 60, 90-day lane for you to get to see success sometimes. So don't ditch a strategy because you didn't have success with it. If you didn't show up, if you just kind of half-assed it a little bit, you can't expect to get the result that you forecasted for it. unless your forecast involved you showing up 0.5%. Number 7 is to reconnect purpose to planning. This is really important. In the one-page business plan that we do, we focus on 4 areas, and we've talked about this quite a bit, of impact. The impact getting to your goal or achieving your goal is going to have on you. The impact it's going to have on your family and friends. The impact it's going to have on your team, and the impact it's going to have on your legacy. Before you sit down and go to craft this next year's plan, especially if you didn't make goal, I'm really going to encourage you that you reconnect with the purpose, reconnect with your why. When you connect the impact of those 4 things, it's really helping you identify your why in a different way. And I need you to reconnect to that and really enjoy and live into the feelings that you would have had you accomplished the goal and experience the impact that the things would make on you. You know, take it from well, when I do this, I'll feel this, to I did this and this is how I'm feeling. I did this is what I'm experiencing. Reconnect to your purpose before you start planning. It will help you be a little bit braver in your forecasting and predictions for the upcoming year. If you don't connect to it, it's going to be very emotionless and it's just going to be a number. And you're likely to miss that goal if you don't have some emotion attached to it. So there's a universal law, logic makes you think and emotion makes you act. I want you to hear that again. Logic makes you think and emotion makes you act. So if you don't have emotions attached to your plan, you're just going to overthink it. In fact, you may get into analysis paralysis. You may be spreadsheeting your way into thinking you're actually producing or performing the strategy. So really just reconnect to that emotional piece that'll help you get into action. So when your plan's rooted in your why, your plan actually becomes energizing and less stressful. Purpose brings emotion, emotion creates movement. And focus on building the life and energy you want, not just the numbers. So again, that's putting emotion to and making the plan mean something. It's not just a number. The goal isn't just to do it again. The goal is to do it better and in alignment so that you actually enjoy the journey. I've said this a couple times before, and I'm going to say it again. If you're an entrepreneur or an executive or a leader in a company, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot combine success and joy. There's not why you can't combine success and peace. Those things can coexist together. So the goal isn't just to do it again. The goal is to do it and be in alignment with it in a way that it fills you, it excites you, it brings you joy, happiness, and peace. Really, really important. So if you're stuck, know you're not alone. Follow these 7 steps, and I promise you, you'll get out of being stuck. You'll get out of your own way, and you'll be able to craft a really healthy, fun, realistic business plan. Even if your goal is a stretch, your business plan can be the bridge to get you to that stretch goal. So those are the 7 pieces of advice I can give you if you're feeling a little stuck. And I'm going to tell you this, don't wait. I'm going to put a little pressure on you. It's the middle of the month. It's the middle of November. We have to have our plans done if we want to have a strong Q1. I've seen so much stress put on people who failed to do a business plan until late December, and they ended up having a mediocre first quarter, which puts catch-up pressure on you for the remainder of the year. Don't do that to yourself. If you're stuck, go through these 7 steps, get unstuck, reach out to a coach, reach out to a mentor, reach out to an accountability partner, reach out to someone and make some commitments as to when you're going to have this plan done and be ready to present it to them. I used to hate doing that when I was with Marriott, have to present this plan. But I will tell you, there was so much power in it because if I presented it, it really became me. It became part of who I was, and I owned it at a really high level. So don't write the plan and be a little secret agent. Write the plan and share it with somebody, ideally a coach, mentor, accountability partner, peer, somebody, even a family member. I'm hoping that this gets you unstuck. As always, if you need help, please reach out, Tony@rethinkcoaching.com. We've got some great resources for simplifying a very, very effective business plan. Go make it a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you must come check out the Mindset Architect Group Coaching Program. It's our monthly program where we explore the power of your mindset, help you identify what you truly want in business and life, and then help you reach those goals. Come check us out at rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. That's rethinkcoaching.com/group-program. We'll see you there.